Okay. Now, if I try to tell you what is analytics is all about, it means just like a layman, what exactly analytics is. I know that, I mean, there are lots of definitions which are available over the internet. Okay, but I'm not getting into those definition. Exactly, what is analytics? If somebody asks you, I try to define it by showing you a picture. If you see this picture, couple of movies, what comes to your mind? The first thing, do you have, or I'm sure you must have watched these movies, right? At least one of them, Krish. So, did you find any similarity between these two pictures, movies? Anything? Uh, Nothing. I cannot see anything in the chat. All right. So, I'm just trying to tell you that in this first movie, The Scorpion King, there was a cruel ruler called Memnon, and Memnon had a sorceress. Okay, so she could see the future, what was going to happen in the war. So Memnon couldn't be defeated by anyone. Okay, but there was a group of rebellion who had hired the Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, in order to kill Memnon. So that was the movie all about. In Krish, the senior Ritik Roshan, he was trying to build a computer. Okay, as the movie was telling us, he was trying to build a computer which could see the future. So in both these movies, what we see, the common part is, in Rock, the sorceress could see the future. In Krish, he had created a computer which could see the future. So in both the movies, they were trying to have a pick about the future, what was going to happen. All right. So analytics is all about predicting what is going to happen in the future. That is all about analytics. Okay. If I know how my consumers are going to behave, how my customers are going to behave, obviously I can take a lot of strategic decisions based on that, right? So I'll be giving you more examples about it, some real life use cases, but this is all about knowing what is going to happen in the future. All right. Now, uh, when I said we talk about the future, how do we talk about the future? This is not a magic. We take the data about our past customers, suppliers, whatever, we have the data. By analyzing the data, we try to understand what is going to happen in the future. Okay, so essentially, if we have more data, we have more work. We have no data, we have no work. Without having data, the data scientist cannot tell you what is going to happen in the future. Okay, probably Ritik Roshan could say that without having any data, but we cannot say that. So essentially, if we have more data, we have more work. We have no data, we have no work. Now, let us understand, it is really growing. Analytics is really growing, though everybody is talking about. But is it really growing, or maybe it's going to be a passing fad? Analytics is not going to be there maybe after about 4 or 5 years. Okay, and then probably you guys are in your early 20s. It's not going to help you if analytics is going to die down after 5 years. It's not worth taking up as a career. But let's understand, is it really growing or not? So there is a statement which says, since the dawn of time, up until 2005, we human being, we have created about 130 exabytes of data. Okay, it's a statement. But I'm sure most of you do not understand what is, how much is 130 exabytes of data. Maybe you think, okay, there is a huge lot of data. Okay, but how much is it? if I try to give you some estimation about how much is 130 exabytes of data, other than just only saying that okay, it's a huge amount of data. If I say, if I try to write a letter A or B or C or anything, okay, just a letter, it takes exactly 1 byte of space to be stored. All right. What if there are about 1024 bytes? That means 1024 letters. For simplicity, let's not say 1024, let's say only 1000. Okay, though technically it is 1024, the calculation says there are 1000 letters. That means 1000 byte. Okay, that means maybe a page of a book, roughly about 1000 letters, or maybe half of a page, which means 1000 bytes equivalent to 1 kilobyte. So 1 kilobyte can store about half of a page or one page of a book. What if there are about 1000 kilobytes, maybe 1000 pages, maybe a book? So it means a book can be stored in a space of 1 megabyte. If I have 1 megabyte, I can store an entire book in it, worth maybe 1000 pages. What if there are 1000 megabytes of data, maybe worth 1000 books? It means maybe a movie, maybe Hollywood or Bollywood movie, okay, which can be stored in 750 megabytes also. But let's assume, I mean, some of the movies are also worth 1 gigabyte, a little more, little less. So for simplicity, 1 gigabyte. So 1 gigabyte space will be required to, or in order to store one entire movie. What if we have about 1000 gigabytes? Then what does it mean? It means if you decide to follow any one of your superstar, okay, any one of the actor or actress with HD cam, every minute of the day and every seconds of the day for as many as maybe 2 to 3 months, that will be worth 1 terabyte of data. Okay, what if there are 1000 terabytes of data? This is Amazon rainforest, which covers roughly about 1.5 billion acres. If I consider there are about 500 trees per acre, so there are roughly about 7.5 billion trees are there. What if we chop down all the trees and transform them into paper? And if you write on both the sides of the papers, okay, that will be about worth 1 petabyte of data. What if there are about 1000 petabytes of data? That will be about 1 exabyte of data. Now I go back to my original statement, which said till 2005, since the world has been created, we human being, we have created only 130 exabytes of data. It includes all sorts of songs, pictures, okay, text, anything and everything, whatever we have created till now, till 2005, we had created only 130 exabytes of data. But in 2010, the number went up to 1200 exabytes of data. So, which took us about maybe more than 1000 years to create only 130 exabytes of data. In another only 5 years, we had created almost tenfold of that data, 1200. If we just move ahead another 5 years, this number grown into 7900 exabytes. By 2020, this number grown into 40,900 exabytes. So do you imagine that the amount of data what we have in the world is increasing by leaps and bounds? If I show you a graph, so it will be something like this. And for your information, we cannot uh, store or process all the data whatever we are creating. Most of the data are lost. The blue line shows you what a machine can process, what can be stored, okay, and the red line shows you what a data scientist can process. A data scientist can process much lesser amount of data what the machines can store, okay. What a data scientist can process, it means the data scientist will process the data, try to understand what is going to happen in the future, and help to make more money out of it. So the amount of data what we are storing, we cannot be processed by data scientists because we don't have so many data scientists. Okay, who is going to process that, who is going to analyze that? We don't have much people. So if you see by the graph, the gap between what the machine can store and what the data scientist can process, the gap is ever increasing. It keeps on increasing. Okay, that's why the demand for data science is always increasing. It will keep on increasing till we reach maybe a saturation point. But it doesn't seem that we are going to reach a saturation point in the coming 40-50 years, because that's why data science has become a profession nowadays. uh, some of the business schools, they have also started giving out data science as a degree. Some of the renowned universities of the entire world, they have started giving data science as a degree, including your Harvard and MIT. Okay, now what I can imagine, that what I foresee is data science is going to be a norm in the coming days. Like presently, wherever you go for any job, be it in sales, be it in finance, be it in core industry, I mean, forget about IT, any industry, be it retail, everybody will be expected to have some amount of computer knowledge, right? You are not expected to say, okay, I have no idea about Windows. I have no idea about what is an Excel sheet, a spreadsheet. Maybe you may not be a master, but you cannot say I have no idea about computer. I don't know what it is, right? Everybody is expected to learn it in their home. When I was young, okay, years ago, there were institutes where they used to teach us about Windows, okay, Windows 2003 maybe, uh, or Office. But gone are the days where people are going to teach you about Windows or Office. Normal computer stuff, you need to learn it on your own, right? That's why I uh, just have I foresee is data science is going to be a norm. Later on, everybody will be expected to know something about data science. You may not be a data scientist, but something about the basic part of data science, everybody will be expected to know. All right. Now, I said, uh, in case if you have any question, you can ask me in between, or else I'll continue. Now, um, there is something called a machine learning algorithm. What is a machine learning algorithm? I said, uh, the data science is going to help us to see what is going to happen in the future. Okay. Now, how do we do that? There are certain algorithms which are called a machine learning algorithm, which helps us to understand what is going to happen in the future. And how does it work? It analyzes the data and tells you what is going to happen in the future. Simple. Now, there are different types of machine learning algorithm which are suitable for different purposes. The basic types of machine learning algorithms are: one is called an estimation or regression. It tells you uh, this type of problems it can be solved, like sales. Okay. Now, if I tell you something like, okay, if I tell you that I am selling a bar of soap, okay, the bar of soap, suppose I sell it at 10 rupees and 100 people are buying from me. Okay, so this is the sales units. Okay, Sorry, this is the price and this is the sales, and my revenue will be 1000 rupees. Fair enough. Now my client wants to know that how do I increase my revenue. All right, so I tell him, why don't you give them a discount? So they start selling it at 9 rupees, and maybe 110 people have started buying from them. So number of people, number of sales, it has gone up. So how much is the revenue? It's 990. What if I tell him, okay, why don't you just increase your price just for a change? They start selling at 11 rupees, and maybe 90 less, some lesser amount of people started buying. So how much is the revenue now? 1045. What do you think? What should be they doing? Should they give them a discount, or should they increase their price? Very obvious, right? They should increase the price. So very obvious. But this is what I said, that by selling it at 11 rupees, 95 people are buying. I just said that whimsically. How do you know that if you sell it at 11 rupees, 95 people are going to buy? This type of predictions can be done using a regression problem, a regression equation. What I said, like the estimation. Okay, why not 12 rupees? Why not 12 rupees and 50 paise? Why not 13 rupees? Or what happens if we sell it at 8 rupees? Okay, we try out with different combinations. These are called the simulation or Monte Carlo simulation, in order to figure out at which price will give me the highest revenue. Okay, even without actually selling it at different prices, because we couldn't possibly change the prices every day. This is a bar of soap, not a stock market. Okay, we could actually figure out what is going to happen in the future if we do this. Okay, similarly, the same things can be used for insurance claims. How am I supposed to fix up the insurance premium? Okay, all these things are forecasting. Maybe what if I want to forecast how much I'm going to my electricity demand will be in the market in the coming 6 months? All these things can be done with a regression problem. Any question up to this much? All right, the next is, we call it a classification problem. Okay, when I say estimation or regression, there could be multiple different types of machine learning algorithms under regression. Okay, there could be a quadratic regression, there could be a linear regression. Okay, there could be a support vector machine. Multiple types of algorithms could be there under it. It's a category. The next category could be a classification problem. Classification type of problem is, type of thing is, suppose uh, I want to give maybe some discount. Okay, now I want to sell maybe an expensive product, maybe an expensive car. Okay, maybe a Lamborghini car, or any expensive car. Lamborghini will be too expensive, but any expensive car. So I have different customers. Okay, this is customer one, customer two, customer three. I have different customers. Now, one thing I can do is, I can approach all of them, but then it's going to take a huge amount of cost, money and time, because there's not going to be 12 customers, there could be huge number of customers. Okay, or maybe imagine I'm Amazon. Okay, in Amazon that if I want to sell something, I want to advertise something, should I be advertising it to all of you? May not be, because all of you will not be a target customer, but then how do I know? But what if I can figure out, I can predict that out of them, who are the people who are having higher possibility of buying that particular product from me? Maybe it's maybe ladies garments. Okay, obviously if you are going to approach a male, definitely they're not going to buy it, right? For a simple example. Similarly, who are the people who are going to buy it? So classification problem can tell me whether this particular person is going to buy it or not. Okay, this is going to tell me whether they're going to buy it. Sorry, they're going to buy it or not buy. So, if I see they are going to people who are going to buy, okay, these are the people. That means what? I am going to approach only these people, other than just approaching all of them, right? But this is not going to be a magic. Again, I need to study all of them in order to predict who are the people who are going to buy. When I'm saying they are going to buy, doesn't mean that my prediction will be 100% correct. But just imagine, my prediction is, even if it is about 80% correct, still it makes a lot of sense, right? Earlier, if you are going to approach all of them, so maybe 2 or 3% of the people are going to buy. That means 97% is going to be your waste. This time, if I am 80% correct, or even if I am 70% correct, still my waste will be only 30%. So from 97% waste, it goes down to 30%. Now, if you want to translate them in terms of money, it's going to be millions of dollars. How many customers Amazon is going to target, and how many products they are having, and how many countries they are operating into. And this can be done for all e-commerce companies. All right. That is like your classification. Then we have something called a recommendation engine. What is a recommendation engine? Recommendation engine means it's directly going to give you a recommendation. For example, whenever you go to Amazon, uh, whenever you buy something, they will show you recommendations like people who bought this also bought that, right? If you maybe an external hard drive, they will also show you a pouch for that external hard drive. If you buy a mobile phone, they will also show you a cover for the mobile phone. Okay, if you go to Netflix, if you start watching some of the movies, they will recommend you. So these are the movies we are recommending that you are going to like it. How they are going to do it? It's all based on data science. If you have visited their site for the first time, for Netflix, they will not be able to do that. But if you have been watching the movie for some time, they will handpick. But this is done by an algorithm. Okay, that is called a recommendation engine. These are the major, uh, you can say, avenues for machine learning. But couple of other things are also there, which is called a variable reduction technique. So if you have too many variables, uh, which is of no use, but you have no idea which to use and which is not to be used, then there are statistical techniques which is going to tell you whether a particular column or variable is important for your model or not. Okay, there are different variable reduction technique, like maybe principal component analysis or factor analysis or information value. Okay, so this is how you can do that. The last one is called the grouping or called the clustering. By the way, any question up to this much? Okay, no question. Great. Now in clustering means we are going to uh, classify some of the my target customers. For example, I'm sure you guys go and buy perfume. What is the maximum pack size of perfume you have seen in the market? Maximum pack size, I'm saying perfume, not deodorant. Maybe 100 ml, maybe 150 ml. Have you seen more than that? And I'm talking about maybe a brand like Hermes or Dior or Gucci, which are very expensive. Have you ever seen a 1 liter, 1 liter pack size? No, right? But that doesn't mean that it is not sold in 1 liter pack size. If you have ever been to Paris, there is a place called Lafayette, a marketplace. You will find a 1 liter pack size, but they're not going to sell it. Do we need to learn machine learning complete before learning data science? Machine learning is the part and parcel of data science. Okay. If you say that I'm learning data science, essentially you are learning machine learning algorithms. Okay. So in 1 liter pack size are available in these type of places. Now, why are they going to sell it in Lafayette and why not in Chennai or Bangalore or Hyderabad or in the supporting surrounding areas? Because my target customer for such an expensive product will be only seen in the very expensive places. So before I could market anything, I need to create a cluster, create a target customer for them. That's why if you want to buy maybe a 650 ml of Dove shampoo, you will always have to go to a supermarket. Deep learning needed for data science. Deep learning is the advanced version of machine learning. Yes, any field can study data science provided that you learn it thoroughly. What programming language? I will come to this one. This question I'll come to. I'll address it later on. But if you go to a Kirana store, you will never find 650 ml. You will only find a 5 ml sachet pack. Okay. So this is how your target customers are chosen. It is grouped before you could target your product, target your customers for any particular product. Okay. So once you study it, you will be learning it more about it. Now I will show you a couple of use cases how a business makes money using data science or rather using machine learning algorithm. So there was a case study. There's a bank in US which had an annual revenue of about uh, $10 billion, okay, which was losing about 2% of revenue due to fraudulent card transactions. That means about they were losing $20 million per year, which is a huge amount of money. So they wanted to understand is how can I mitigate my losses? Yes, if you have done your BSc in stats, definitely you will have this course, definitely. So how can I mitigate these fraudulent transactions? Okay, so what they were trying to do is whenever you are swiping your card, that you are going to predict whether it's going to be a authentic transaction or whether it's going to be a fraudulent transaction. Okay, it's a clear case of a classification problem. The way I told you over here, whether they're going to be it's going to predict whether they're going to buy it or not buy it. In this case, whenever anyone is making a transaction, my model can predict whether they are they are a fraud transaction, or an authentic transaction. They can actually predict. Okay. So out of all the authentic transaction, wherever there are fraudulent transactions, the algorithm will block all those transactions. Now you're thinking how the algorithm will understand whether it's an authentic or fraudulent, right? Any thought about it? Anything? What do you think? There are certain simple rules are there. There are certain complicated rules are there. When I I just run the algorithm out of all the people data, what they're going to do is in the server, the algorithm works. The server will find, suppose there is a transaction at about maybe 8 p.m. and it also tracks the place at which place is the transaction is taking place. So suppose it is Los Angeles. Yeah, ML is a part of data science. So the transaction is taking place in Los Angeles. Immediately, I mean, for a simple type of rule, it will also check when the previous transaction had taken place. Maybe the previous transaction had taken place at about 4 p.m., maybe from Bangalore. So immediately this is going to be a blocked one because it is not possible for someone to fly from Bangalore to Los Angeles in 4 hours. Okay. In this way, in whichever fraudulent transaction have happened, they will try to figure out all the rules. Okay. And they will create an algorithm which is going to identify whether it's a fraudulent transaction or not. There could be lots of other things as well. So by taking into consideration all the other factors, they are going to predict whether there is a fraud or not. Now, even if it is about 80% correct, still just imagine that if you can save about 80% of $20 million, that means $16 million you are saving, right, per year. That's a huge savings for this particular bank. Forget about 80%, even if it is 50%, still that means $10 million. That's a huge savings. Okay. Now there could be like other problems, like as I said in my previous example, maybe a retail client, what they want to do is, as I said on this one, they were giving discounts, so actually their revenue got decreased. But think there is a brand called Dove. In order to increase their revenue, suppose they were selling it at about maybe 50 rupees, now they're giving a discount, maybe 35 rupees, 30 rupees discount. Okay. What they found is their revenue got increased. Earlier it was 100 rupees, suppose now it is 150 rupees. Clearly there is an increase in the revenue. Still it may be the case they are not making money, they are not happy about it because they are not actually making money. Can you think of a reason why? Somebody is saying mechanical graduate, I can't understand data science. uh, I don't believe that you can't understand data science, because probably I'll say it is one of the easiest uh, thing to learn, though it has a very high demand in the market. It is one of the easiest thing. I don't understand why you are not understanding it. So I don't know. I mean, probably you have tried to learn it yourself, or you have gone to a person who is not very proficient himself in this field. Because what I say that if I teach, I provide a learning guarantee. Okay, there is a guarantee that everybody will understand each and every code and every concept. If you don't understand anything, there is a money back guarantee. I say I'll pay your money back and you just go and join some other institute wherever you're going to be learning it well, with 100% no deduction and nothing. So we are so very confident. I say that it's a learning guarantee, 100% money back guarantee. Theoretically data science is understandable, but the process how it like, I will tell you how you need to study it. Okay, I'll come to that. Let me just complete this example. I'll tell you. I'll answer your questions. Anyway, this is a 3-day course, and I'll also be showing you. I'll be teaching you some of the codes as well, Python codes, so you can just understand it for yourself. That whether you think it is difficult to understand or not. Okay. Now they were not earning money, any money. Why? It might be the case that when Dove is giving discount, they are earning more revenue. That means additional people are buying Dove. Who are the people who are buying Dove? It might so happen that these are the people who had actually come to buy Lux, and they found there is a discount in Dove. That's why they have bought Dove. Otherwise, they would have purchased Lux. That means what? Lux and Dove, they are both owned by Unilever. So I am stealing it from my own course, I mean own brand. No, I will not be able to complete all the things. I mean, it's not possible. The total entire course is a 3.5 months course, so I'm only going to teach you only the basics of it. So if you enroll for the course, then I'm going to teach you the entire stuff. It's not possible to teach you everything in 3 days. All right, this is called a brand cannibalization. Okay, so we also need to find out that if you are getting more customers, where they are coming from. All this will also be identified by your data science. Now I will come to the type of things what you are asking. How to join the 3 months course? You just need to apply for it. Just need to come to this. The people who have organized it, I'm the trainer over here, and I do not take care about the administrative part. The people who take care about the administrative part from Aponix, you just need to go there and approach them. And probably if you join, I'll be your trainer. Okay, scope of data science in India. This is one of the older data which I'm showing you. Okay, from 2018. See the number of jobs which are getting advertised each month. If you can see, again there is an exponential growth. Okay, due to coronavirus and all, probably this has gone down, but uh, what I can foresee, already the vaccine has come out, and by next year, by mid of next year, we should be getting the vaccine, and again it should take up. Okay, now the job requirement, if you can see, the maximum demand is in the south, surrounding area of Bangalore and Chennai and Hyderabad. The south is pretty good with IT part. So I mean it's been the same thing for the last 30-40 years. Somebody is asking, role of data scientist in an industry is complete package or there is classification in the role? Yeah, obviously there are classification. The data scientist will only be analyzing the data. They are not going to go and collect the data. They are not going to extract the data. The data extraction part, there will be ETL members in the team. Okay, and when your initial days you will be act like a team member who will be only working on the technical part. Gradually you grow and become a team leader and oversee someone else's work, and then gradually you will be like a consultant. You will go and meet the client, and you will be in a client facing role, and you will be about half technical and half functional, and gradually you will be full functional. Some of the people who do not want to get into the entire functional part, then they will be like a solution architect. You will remain in your technical part. You will be the creating the solutions for the client. You will be the solution architect. There are different roles based on your aptitude and performance. It will be offered to you. What tools are used to analyze data? There are any coding done? Yes, you need to write codes. Yes, absolutely. I'll come to that. I'll tell you. So this is the type of things the India is flourishing with data science one. Okay. Now my observation is, as I said, that Bangalore and Delhi are the analytics hub, but Kolkata, Hyderabad, Pune, they are coming up fast. In the coming days, what I can expect is there are a lot of actions in the e-commerce space. Already you can see there is a war between Amazon and Flipkart, because Flipkart has been owned by Walmart and Amazon is the huge one. Is big data part of data science? Yes. See, big data means it's very simple. Any data which cannot be processed with your traditional software, like an Excel spreadsheet, that is a big data. And most of the data will be a big data. So this big data, you cannot just work it with any software. You require specialized software. And data science is you analyze this data and try to figure out what is going to happen in the future. That is a big data analytics, nothing else. So, but as I'm saying, the companies are still struggling to grab good resources. And that's why there is a result in the increase in pay package. Okay, you are a fresher, completed BE. Which course should I take up to get into a good job? If you're talking about data science, then you should learn data science. If you don't want to get into data science, maybe you want to go to somewhere else, that is okay. But in data science, I'll tell you that what are the things you need to learn. Okay. Uh, what I was telling you, that companies are struggling to grab good resources. Though there are so many institutes which are teaching data science, so many people are enrolling. What you can see in Facebook, so many companies are advertising. Still, companies are struggling. When I go and conduct interviews for my company, I find that very few people know their job well. The reason is I'll tell you. Person dull in mathematics can learn data science. Absolutely. Data science is not mathematics. And I don't suppose somebody is dull in mathematics. Maybe somebody has failed to score a high marks, because in the school and colleges you don't know what you're doing it for. If you're learning calculus, if you're learning logarithm, nobody has any idea why you are doing it. Even the teacher will not be knowing that. If you ask them why you are doing logarithm, what is the purpose of it, they will only tell you study, that's why you will be getting marks, that's it. But why we are going to do it in a business, nobody knows. So I mean, I don't consider it any significant thing. You are a BCS student, is it become easy for me to learn data science? I won't say it is going to be easy for you. I mean, it's going to be as easy to you as any other student. Okay, BCET is not going to give you any competitive edge over the other students. No, not really. I don't think so. I will tell you why this is going to happen, because still companies are struggling to get things, good resource. First, let me tell you some of the rosy picture and then I'll show you the challenges. The salaries. Uh, about till 3 years of experience, an average salary could be 50,000 per month. 3 to 5 years, it could be 67,000. 5 to 7 years, a little more than 100,000 rupees. What about engineering study for job? Yeah, absolutely. If you want to go for an engineering job, absolutely you can go for it. No problem. But if you say, I mean, if you are studying computer engineering, if you want to get into the coding, the software development, it is there. Definitely, it is there. But still, the growth rate is on the lower side about the software development, whereas the digital technologies are the growth rate is much high, because normal softwares, I mean, people are, I mean, seldom people are only building normal softwares. I will tell you about the data science programming knowledge. I'll tell you about it. Okay. So for 10 years plus, you can say about 2,50,000 plus salary. But then again, it's a very average thing. Okay. Now, not everybody having 10 years plus experience will be earning 2.5 lakhs, because it depends on the places as well. Maybe Mumbai, Bangalore will be paying more than Hyderabad. Okay. It also depends about which background you're coming from, how much knowledge you have, what sort of project experience you have. Maybe you have been working for about 10 years without having much knowledge in it. Obviously will not be given 2.5 lakhs. Okay, people will be more than happy to earn about 100,000 rupees having 10 years of experience. So just an average. And there are people having only 7.5 years of experience earning 30 lakhs. Okay, it is also possible. Just an average indicative. Yeah, on-site opportunities are also there. uh, yeah, everybody knows on-site, so usually we work for the overseas clients. So you will be asked to go and work in the overseas for the overseas clients. So you'll be asked to go and stay there, maybe in US, maybe in Europe. Most of the work we work with do with for either Europe or US, sometimes Australia, New Zealand as well. Okay, definitely this is the glamour part of IT job, your on-site opportunities. And when you go to on-site, you will be having on two salaries. Whatever you are earning, the Indian salary, plus you will be given an allowance. Uh, all right. So next is how we train, or what are the things you need to learn. So there are two basic softwares which are dominating the market, like R and Python. Okay. Now, there are some of the differences between R and Python, but in data science, these are the two softwares which are actually dominating the market. Some of the things which are easier to do or to be done using R, some of the things which are easier to be done using Python. Okay, but there is a lot of overlap as well. So what we teach is, and or rather, how you should be learning it. You should take up preferably both these languages, R and Python. If you think, no, I do not have time, or I do not have that capacity to learn the both, then you can take up any one of them, either R or Python. There is a hype over Python, but nothing like that. R is equally important like Python in space of data science, so you can take up any one of them, no problem. Okay, either R or Python, equal, no difference. So you should learn first the programming. Like if I give you a data set, how can you just do the data handling part, the slicing dicing part, whatever you can do with the data set with R and Python. In R and Python, you have to write a code for that. Even if you want to do a 1+1, you need to write a code for that. So we will be teaching you everything about the coding part, whatever you can do with the data. All the things we'll be learning first. Okay, then you will also be learning the SQL queries. It's the structured language query, structured query language. You will be learning that this is mostly used for data extraction or data manipulation. It is, I'm not going to tell you, I'll not say that it is absolutely mandatory to know, but it is, yeah, DBMS, database management system. That is how you create a database. Mostly it's RDBMS, relational database management system, but SQL is used to extract the data from an RDBMS system. Okay, I will not say it is absolutely mandatory, but it is good to know. Good to know. And there are certain things which are easier to be done using SQL query. Whatever we call code in normal R and Python, that's what we call query in SQL. So it is good to know. Then we will be learning the machine learning algorithms. For each R and Python, there are six different algorithms which will be taught. Like I said, I give you an example of maybe retail, uh, maybe BFSI, banking and financial institution, manufacturing, energy resource utility. All the different domains will have different types of algorithms. So six different algorithms will be taught to you, and the algorithms will be taught in form of a case study. Case study is like when we go actually work in the office, they will give us a data set and they will give us a business question. Okay. What is the idea of learning AWS and MS Azure? There's nothing called MS Azure, uh, Microsoft Azure, but we call it only Azure. Okay. Um, I will come to that later on. Just park this question. I'll tell you about the Azure and AWS. That is a cloud computing. I'll tell you about it. But you can say that's an extension of machine learning. If you do not know machine learning, so Azure or AWS is not going to be of any help in terms of data science. Okay, not going to be helpful. So in there will be case studies will be like we will be giving you exactly the same way. We'll be giving you data set and we'll be giving you a business problem. So you have to first clean the data, a statistical cleaning, understand the data, create a hypothesis, apply a machine learning algorithm, maybe one, maybe two, maybe three, and compare between them, which is going to give you the best type of result, and then come up with the result, but then without uttering a single technical word. That is called a business presentation, because your client, maybe a CEO of the company, may not be knowing the technical part. So you have to be absolutely in layman terms, just recommendations. Okay. MSc in data science, you don't have an MSc yet. Some of the institute will tell you about MSc, but it is of no use. Okay. So I mean, the idea is you just need to learn it. You either you do it a MSc or you do it on your own, doesn't matter. You just need to learn it. That's it. So just give me a second. Okay. So uh, similarly, for R and Python, both we will be doing 18 case studies for each R and each Python. Okay, 18, 18, 36. And we will also be learning about robotic automation. Robotic automation, again, this is not absolutely compulsory, but it is always good to know. Shall we learn self-taught? Yes, if you can definitely learn it through YouTube videos, absolutely. But I have found that YouTube videos are very superficial. You don't get to see the absolute one, because people will be providing YouTube videos only for promotion, so that you later on pay the money. So you'll not get the entire stuff. That is going to be the problem. But otherwise, if you can manage, absolutely okay, no problem. Then we will also be learning Excel. Excel is something in data science we breathe in and breathe out. Okay, people are never going to ask you any question in the interview for Excel, but if you do not know Excel well, it's going to be problem while you are going to work. Okay, so we'll be also teaching you how to build a CV, how to face the interview questions. We'll give you probable interview questions, and at the end we'll also have a mock interviews. Like in a technical round, or usually when I take an interview or anyone else does it, if they ask you a question and if you're unable to answer it in 5 seconds, usually they will assume that you do not know the answer and they'll go to the next question. And if it happens about 4 or 5 times in a row, you will be rejected. Okay, so there are many a times when I have seen the students, they know it, but they cannot come up with the answer instantly. So you require practice, the mock interview practice. It is essential. Okay, and we'll also be giving you the video recording of all the classes. Okay, So it is going to be of my own videos, whatever I teach you, and with a lifetime free access. You will have it till your lifetime. Okay. And as I said, there's a learning guarantee. So it means there is not going to be anything which you will not be able to understand, not even a single line of code. Okay. And after each end of every class, we'll be giving you assignments to complete so that you don't forget. You keep on practicing them. We'll be giving you case studies. All right. What are the details for enrolling this course? You can always ask the administrator, because I am not the person who will be taking care about the enrollment. Somebody is going to come and I mean, they will tell you about it. So, but the challenges are that you got to be knowing the subject well. You should be knowing it like a professional. Professional doesn't mean that you should be knowing everything. Nobody knows everything, but whatever you know, you should be absolutely thorough with that. No, there are no specific framework. That was just exactly my next point. Develop analytical mind. That is very important. Coding, statistics, these things can be taught. Okay. But your analytical mind, you need to develop it. This cannot be done. You need to develop it. Okay. Like in the consulting interviews, there could be different types of questions. They might ask you, like, I mean, I have been asked this type of question, like, tell me how many cats are there in the city Manhattan. Okay. These type of things can be done. So you need to develop your analytical mind. It doesn't happen on a single day. Data science certificate is compulsory. See, certificate is just a piece of paper. It's nothing. But all of you, whosoever enrolls for it, they always come for a job, right? Otherwise, what you're going to do with a certificate? Even if somebody gives you a certificate, it is not going to be the case that is you're going to show your certificate in any company and they will hire you, right? Without having an interview. So interview is for own good, to prepare yourself. Okay. Yep. Uh, I am happy to take up your questions now, and let me give you your attendance link as well. Just a second. I have it in your mail. Your attendance link. Now I am happy to take up your questions. What are the tools used to analyze data? Yes, as I said, R and Python. So mostly you will be working with R and Python. These are the these are the basic thing. Okay. And on the top of that, it's good to know like Excel and SQL. No, there's not going to be any quiz today, because I did not teach you today anything to worth quizzing you. Okay, so there's going to be a quiz tomorrow and day after. Okay, you have 0% knowledge in SQL. That doesn't matter, because what I believe, that you can learn it maybe in about 2 hours max. 2 hours. Best online platform to learn, maybe Stack Overflow. It's a good way to learn. Why we use Excel? Excel, there are lots of data manipulation and there are data analysis which will be required using Excel. How much this course is going to be? Yeah, somebody is going to come and tell you about the course fees and all. Udemy to learn new things. Udemy is a great platform, but in my company, Udemy is free. So I have gone through all the data science courses of Udemy. Udemy is good, great. I'll say their pedagogy is great, but the only thing is it's very basic. They will not teach you the absolute, the in-depth part. You're not good at programming. I mean, if you're not good at programming, you will be good at programming afterwards. That's not a problem. So data science is not all about programming. It's all about analytical. It's all about being analytical. Okay. So you develop your mind in this, and probably today you are not good at programming, but you will become a good programmer afterwards. Okay. That's not going to be a problem. So let us know. I mean, if you enroll or if you want any other help. I mean, tomorrow I'm going to teach you something about programming. Okay, just try to attend tomorrow's class, and you will find. I mean, it's going to be very easy. Or rather, you tell me whether it's going to be easy or not. How do you feel? Because if I tell you it's going to be easy, you may not believe me. But once you do it, and you will be able to understand. Interview for data science jobs. Interview whatever they are saying that I know this. They should be absolutely thorough about it. Okay. For any queries, you can write to info@aponics.com. This one you can use it. Fail in attendance, I do not know about it. So I have just copy pasted the link what they have shared. If you have any problem, write it to info@aponics.com. They are going to take care about it. All right. So okay, there is another phone number. If you have any interest, any queries, you can call up this number. Let me share this number 906 998 906 998. You can just uh, call up this number. They are going to help you. All right. Python related to data science. Python related to data science because using Python you can do deploy the machine learning algorithm. Okay, I forgot. Somebody asked me about Azure. See, Azure is a cloud platform. Okay, it's a cloud platform which is going to offer you a platform to write either Python code or R code. Okay, but if you do not know how to write a Python code, it's not going to be of any use. Moreover, you need to be knowing about how a machine learning algorithm works. No, Hadoop is not a part of data science. Hadoop is only data storage and processing. You cannot do any sort of analysis using Hadoop. Okay. It is of no use. I started learning it myself, but then I realized it is not going to be of any help. How machine learning is related to data science? You can say machine learning is data science. Data science works through machine learning. For learning data science, we have to know Python or R language. Yes, you need to be learning those things. Python language alone, yes, Python language alone is okay, absolutely fine. But then if some companies are working with R, then you become handicapped. You will not be able to apply for them. So since you're a fresher, it's better to learn both. But if you cannot learn both, you can take up any one of them. That's okay. You can tell me about R programming. What do you want to know about R programming? So R programming, how do I tell you? So otherwise I need to teach you. Is basic Python enough? No, nothing is basic is not enough. If in a company, if you're saying I know Python, that means you know it all. Okay. So it's, I mean, if you are thinking about your career, you should join the entire course, you should learn it. Can you show a simple program of R programming? But not today. I don't know whether I'll get time tomorrow or not, but no, not now. So whether if you're thinking about, I mean, just for your career, you should do this course or any course. You should learn it. I mean, altogether you should learn it. Okay, so you should learn it like a professional. All right, so let's end the session. Let me. I will stop the recording.